Welcome back. In our last video, we talked a lot about string. We talked about length. We talked about char@. We talked about how to piece together strings, something known as concatenation. Let's start off today's video by recapping that stuff. In Java, every variable's data type is either one of the 8 primitive data types or a type of blank. It's either one of the 8 primitive data types or some type of object. So there's 8 primitive data types. Those are laid out. If you come across a data type, which all variables have to have a data type with Java, if you come across a data type and it's not one of those 8, it is an object, period. Invoking a method is known as a method call, right? There's 2 parts to a method. We got the method call, which is when we tell a particular section of code to execute. A string that is constructed using double quotes is known as a string literal. We use this term because there's also string variables. We made some string variables in our last video as well. The process of adding strings together using our little addition operator is known as concatenation. The string blank documents all of the information needed to work with strings, including a list of all the methods a string can call. I told you don't have to know what the acronym stands for, but you do need to know it is called a string API. Right? If I go Google string API right now, it's actually going to pull up the Java one first, even though this word applies to basically all languages. It's just a popularity type of thing. But the string API will come up, and that documents all the information we need. Most importantly, the list of methods. Here we have a method signature, and I want to know, what does it return? This is going to return a Boolean. In theory, it's in the string class, in theory. The name of the method is my method. It takes in one parameter, an integer, and it returns a Boolean. What is printed by the following code fragments? So we see a string variable, and it is storing this string literal, or pointing to this string literal. Bakers need dough. And I want to know, what is the length of it? Ugh, why would I do this? All right. Well, length is number of characters, so it's as easy as counting. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This has a length of 19. There's 19 characters. Okay. What is my string char@1? All right, char@ is a method we talked about. It takes in an integer. That is the index. And what you're going to get is the character at that index. In this case, it's capital B. Just kidding. It's lowercase a. All right, strings, the indices begin at 0. A lot of students, for whatever reason, I don't quite understand this one, but a lot of students get length and then like the indices kind of mixed up. Length is number of characters. When I'm counting how many characters, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? For some reason, that can throw students off. The very first index in the string is index 0. So this capital B is index 0. This lowercase a is index 1. So that is technically the character that I'm looking for. I like to again once again point out that we're using single quotes here. That's because this is a single character, right? This is a string literal. The double quotes indicate that it is a string. The single quotes indicate that this is a character. It is possible to have double quotes lowercase a. That would then be a string with a length of 1. All right, char@7. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is lowercase k. What about char@19? Okay, this is why I ultimately asked this silly question about the length, right? The length of the string is 19. So if I try to get the character at index 19, that is out of bounds. Right? The indice starts at 0. What that means is this very last character is going to be 1 less than the length. The length of this is 19. There's 19 total characters. This spot right here is going to be 1 less than that because our indices begin at 0. So this is index 18. 19 would be out of bounds. Attempting to access an index in a string that does not exist will generate a specifically string index out of bounds exception. It just says index out of bounds exception. But it is very specifically a string index out of bounds exception. That's important. Later, we're going to be working with something called arrays, which can also go out of bounds. and it'll say array index out of bounds exception, whatever. So that's going to be it for our recap. I would like to switch gears kinda and do some coding bats. All right, I already got it pulled up over here. So I am in the Java section, string 1. Don't forget to log in so it'll save your progress. But under string 1, we knocked out these first two in our last video. Why don't we pick it up there and do the next one, which is called MakeTags. It says the web is built with HTML strings like yay inside of these tags, which draws yay as italic text. In this example, the I tags, this opening and closing, which surround the word yay, give the Given the given tag and word strings, create the HTML string with tags around the word. Example, yay. So let's look at the actual test cases that they're showing us here. Right? We're calling MakeTags. We're passing in two strings. I can actually clearly see down here that MakeTags takes in two strings. Right here, because they're in quotes, I know those are strings. These are string literals. Right? So we're taking in a tag and a word. In this test case, I is the tag, yay is the word. And what they would like us to return is the word inside of some tags. Note that tag itself is just this character here. We have to actually come up with these less than, greater than symbols. We, in practice, call them angle brackets. Right? We got like curly braces and we got brackets. We call these angle brackets in computer science. So we'll put angle brackets around the tag. Again, note that the tag does not include those angle brackets. We actually need to come up with that ourselves. But whatever the word is, it'll be wrapped up in whatever the tag is. Okay, let's get started. I'm not going to do anything super fancy here. We can just, at the point of return, create this. Right? The very first thing I'm going to need is this opening angle bracket. So I'm going to return that opening angle bracket. Along with, I don't want to specifically say I, because it can vary, right? We had I in a couple of test cases, but in this one it's cite. It's whatever is in tag. Right? So I'm going to do the opening angle bracket. We'll do tag. And then next we're going to do the closing angle bracket. So far, I've basically made something that looks like that. Now, it depends on what tag is, right? It could be that I, it could be cite, it could be something else. Any string is possible. That's what we've done so far. What I need now is the word that's in between the tag. I'm going to plug in the variable word. So now we have something like cite, yay. That's what we're at so far. I'm ready for this bit. It's two characters, and so I can actually plug them into the exact same string. So we have that opening bit there. We're going to, once again, plug in our tag. And then lastly, our closing angle bracket. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete the comment because this should be everything just concatenated at the point of return, right? So all of this is going to get added together, create one string, which then gets returned. And there we have it. Let's go to the next one. Make out word. Given an out string, length 4, such as angle bracket, angle bracket, angle bracket, angle bracket. In a word, return a new string where this is going to be using some stuff that we are learning today. So I'm going to flip over to our slides and let's learn about substring. Char is great at what it does. It'll give us a single character at a single index. However, you often want a range of characters, that is a substring of a string. Here we have this method signature. This is in the string class. The method is called substring. it takes in 2 integers, and it returns a string. The string method substring returns a new string consisting of all the characters from the first specified index, inclusive, to the second specified index, exclusive. Okay, this is going to trip you up. It trips up most students initially, but we're going to do inclusive, exclusive, and that's going to seem annoying at first. In the long run, you're going to like it better. This is a good thing. Let's take a look at an example and see how exactly does substring work. I'm going to have a string called greeting. This is the contents. We're going to take that and get a substring of it, beginning at index 0 inclusive up to index 5 exclusive. Substring, if you'll recall, returns a string. So I'm taking the string that's getting returned and I'm saving it into a new variable that I'm printing off. Okay, so I think this visual is going to help a lot. I'm taking hello world and I'm throwing it into an array, right? I'm basically labeling the indices so we can clearly see them, right? So this is greeting laid out with the indices numbered. We're going to get a substring of it beginning at index 0, that's right here, inclusive, up to index 5 exclusive. So exclusive means that this will not actually be part of my substring. Visually, that's that, right? We're getting those 5 characters as a string. What if we did a substring from 7 to 12? Again, our indices are going to help a lot. Keep in mind this is inclusive, this is exclusive. So we'll start at index 7. This W will be included. That's what we mean by inclusive. This exclamation mark, that is index 12, will not be. That's what we mean by exclusive. So this substring call will give us just world. Okay, substring 5, 6. Well, here's 5, so we're going to do that inclusive, up to 6, exclusive. That's just this comma. Now, note that here I'm saying this prints double quotes, comma. I've hit on the idea a couple of times now. This is not a single character. This is not the char data type. This is a string. The double quotes indicate that it is a string. This is a string with a length of 1. So here is a tip, like a way that you can use substring. Substring can simulate charat by specifying the indices I, comma, I plus 1, right? 5 being I, 5 plus 1 being 6. However, what is returned is a string with a length of 1, not a char. Now, I know this probably seems kind of minuscule to you. What's the big deal? Sometimes you need a string. Sometimes you need a char. That's basically it, right? Occasions where you need a char for whatever reason, charat is your go-to. If you want a single character but you need it as a string, maybe substring is your go-to. Okay? Here's another tip. I actually think this one's pretty big. The length of the string returned by the method is equal to the difference of the parameters in the method call. What do I mean? Here I have a substring method call. These are the parameters in question. If you take the absolute difference of that, that is 6 minus 5, we're going to get 1. The resulting string has a length of 1. Okay, this is one of those things where the inclusive exclusive thing is actually nice, right? So if I do a substring 7, 13, before we even talk about what this is giving you, I'm going to ask you the question, how long will the string be? What will the length of word be? You can answer this just by taking 13 minus 7, and that'll give us 6, right? So this particular substring starts at index 7, goes up to index 13. It has a length of 6. Okay, this slide is also showing something very interesting. The length of hello world is 13. But this does not give you an index out of bounds, and that is because this is inclusive, exclusive. Because we're not actually trying to access index 13, this will not generate an index out of bounds exception. Okay, in theory, the above code fragment would generate an index out of bounds exception because index 13 does not exist. However, since the second index specified in the substring method call is exclusive, index 13 is not actually accessed. this fragment will not cause an index out of bounds exception. However, if we went like one beyond that, right? If we did 14, we would get an index out of bounds, not because we're trying to access index 14, but because we're trying to access index 13, right? Okay, I'm going to show you some more tricks here, and then we'll maybe get back to some coding back. We see hello world, that's our string. We then take that string, and we're going to do greeting.length -1. We've seen hello world several times, not 7, at least 7. It has a length of 13, right? So when I say greeting.length, this is an integer. It's going to be 13. I'm doing 13 minus 1. I'm getting 12. Okay, so the value of end is 12. I'm going to take a substring beginning at index 0 up to index 12. So we're going to start here, and we're going to go up to index at 12. Remember, inclusive, exclusive. So the substring here in question is hello world. Okay, that seems like extra steps. Why would you do that? Why not just plug in 12? But this is actually a kind of a trick. Imagine you don't know how long the string is. Well, you can ask for the length. And using that, we can dynamically reference the end, subtracting off. So the end of the string can be dynamically referenced in terms of its length. So this is -1 character, right? If I do a -2, we're going to go back even further. -3, -4, -5. So it's easy to reference the beginning of a string, right? The first index is always 0. The end of the string is a little bit harder because we need to do it in terms of its length. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. We have hello world as our greeting. I'm going to save in just the length into end. I'm then going to do a substring from 1 to end. All right, length, we've talked several times. This is 13. So I'm doing 1 to 13. So we're going to start here and go up to index 13. Remember, this is not actually going to go out of bounds. So this particular substring will give us hello world. So that's substring. What is printed by the following code fragments? We have string S, bakers need dough. I believe we saw in the last little slides, our recap, that this has a length of 19. That's going to be important later. You see that we're referencing length. I'm taking S, that's our string, and doing a substring from 0 to 5. We're going to start here at index 0 and go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is index 5, but remember, inclusive, exclusive. So capital B will be part of it. This lowercase s will not. What about a substring 13 to 18? Well, we just said this is 5. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're here. What will the length of this string be, by the way? You can answer this just by taking the difference of the parameters, right? I'm going to do 18 minus 13. It's going to be a length of 5. So without thinking too hard, right, I can kind of shortcut some things. I've determined this is index 13. We're going to start there, and we're just going to get 5 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should give us dough, lowercase, no exclamation mark. Right? This is index 18. You can count it out, or you can think a little bit smarter, not harder. This has a length of 19. This must be one less than that. All right, substring 7, 8. Well, this was 5, 6, 7. This should be K, just K. The length will be 1. 13 to s.length. We determined that 13 is here. S.length is like out here. So we'll have dough with the exclamation mark. Substring 10 to 20. This has a length of 19. So if I try to go to 20, that's going to give me an index out of bounds. All right, here's our answers. That first one is baker. The second one was dough. This one's K, dough with an exclamation mark, and this one was an index out of bounds. I'd like you to note that number 3 here, again, double quotes. This is a string. Substring is giving you back a string, not a character. It'd be single quotes if it was a character. This is a string with a length of 1. Okay. With that in mind, we'll come back to this a little bit. I'd actually like to do this coding that I tried to do earlier. Given an out string with a length of 4, they tell us it's going to have a length of 4, right? We see in the test cases that this first string has a length of 4, and that's referring to out. Given an out string with a length of 4 in a word, return a new string where the word is in the middle of the out string. Note, we can use substring to extract the string starting at index I and going up to but not including index J. What are we doing? We need to basically break this apart. Right? I need that to go in the beginning. I need that to go to the end. And it's going to wrap around this word. So we see our example. This is out. This is word. And we want word to be in the middle of out. This is out. This is word. And we want our word to be in the middle of that. Okay. So how can we do that? I'm going to use some variables to kind of demonstrate the idea. Right? I'm going to create string beg. Beg being short for beginning. And what I want are the first 2 characters of out. Right? So we're going to do out.substring beginning at this index. That's index 0. Strings always start at index 0. And I want up to this index. I'm telling you, the way that I'm actually thinking about it is like, okay, this is where I'm starting. I need 2 characters. Boom. The difference here, that is 2 minus 0, tells me that this string will have a length of 2, and it starts here. So that should be the first 2 characters. Okay. Slightly harder is our end. Right? So I need this. Because they tell us that the length is exactly 4, we can just start at this index, right? That index being index 2. Out.substring. We're going to start at index 2. And again, I need it to have a length of 4. We can get away with doing this without having to reference the end of the string, right? Without having to start at length and work backwards, because they tell us it's going to be exactly 4. There's going to be problems in the future where we don't have that luxury. So this is beg, which is going to be the first half of this string. This is end, which is going to be the second half of the string. I need to put those on either side of our word. Right? So I can do like string result or string str or string rtn because I plan on returning it. And that is going to be beg, the string that I made up here, plus word, that is the parameter coming in, plus end. And then I'm going to return that. Okay. Levels to this is recognizing that we could maybe do this just at the point of return. Notice we're still getting them all correct. And then even above that is we don't really need these variables. I'm not changing them over the course of the method. They're just temporarily holding values. We could do all of that at the point of return. So here I'm getting the substring, right? I'm going in out. I'm getting the first 2 characters. I'm going in out. I'm getting the last 2 characters. And those are going on either side of our word. Let's check out the next one. This one's called extraend. Given a string, return a new string made of 3 copies of the last 2 chars of the original string. The string length will be at least 2. That's important. Let's take a look at our test cases, right? We have hello, and they want us to output LO, LO, LO. That is the last 2 characters repeated 3 times. We see AB, right? Keep in mind the string will be at least a length of 2. So AB, AB, AB. It happens to be the entire string. Hi, 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 HI. All right, we can do this. This one, I actually do recommend a variable, and I'm actually even going to keep it even for our highest level solution. So I'm going to create end. It's going to be the last 2 characters. All right, I don't really need to know. Actually, I do, right? The length of this can vary. It's at least 2, but it could be more. So in this particular case, I'm going to have to get the last 2 dynamically, starting from the end of the string. I need to work my way back from here. All right? If I just did like 2, 4, like we did with our last one, that assumes that the string has a length of 4, but that is not the case. This one has a length of 2. This one's got a length of 2. This one's got a length of 5. Okay, so we have a string coming in. It's str. I'm going to take str, and I'm going to get a substring of it. What I would like to do, maybe last2 is a better variable name for this. What I'd like to do is kind of start at the end and work my way back. Okay, what do I mean? Right, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If there was an index 5, it would be here, right? It would be the length of the string. We're going to use str.length. In this example, the length is 5, right? Again, that puts us somewhere out here. I want to basically start 1, 2, 2 back from that. If my length is 5, minus 2 should give me a 3. So we're looking at 0, 1, 2, 3. I want to start at this index inclusive and then go through the rest of the string. That is str.length. That's a lot, but it's my last 2, right? We're going into the string. We're getting a substring. We're going to start at this index, the length of the string minus 2. We're going to go up to this index exclusive. This should give me my last 2 characters, right? I can still use my my length trick where I take the parameters. This should be, using this as an example, right? This will be 3. This will be 5. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. This will be the last 2 characters, a string with a length of 2. Okay, so I've got the last 2 characters. I want to repeat them 3 times. Right? I'm going to do that at the point of return. We'll do last 2. That'll give me 1 copy. Last 2. 2 copies. Last 2. 3 copies. Okay. Super unnecessary, but I would imagine that I have a couple of students that may come up with this. This is repeating a certain number of times, right? It's only 3, so it's so easy just to put it 3 times. By the way, if we didn't use this variable last 2, you would need to repeat this 3 times. Like we would copy and paste this 3 times. That's why the variable's nice. It cleans this up quite a bit. But this is a set number of times. It's just 3. What if we had like a variable amount of times? Maybe you wanted to do the last 2 characters, but the number of times is not always 3. The number of copies could be like a varying amount. Well, if that were the case, you would need a loop to do it. So I'm going to create a loop that'll loop exactly 3 times to answer this problem. This is so unnecessary, but it's kind of clever if you can figure it out, right? I'm going to create an empty string, and I'm going to loop exactly 3 times. What I'm going to do with each iteration is say that this string, RTN, which was empty, it was nothing, is going to be what it currently is plus last 2, right? So we're going to take our string, we're going to tack on the last 2 characters, and then we'll do it again, and then we'll do it again. We'll do it exactly 3 times. What that means is that after the loop is over, the value of RTN should just be last 2 3 times. I'm going to hit my go button. And you see that we're getting it right. This is so extra. If you're not doing this, that's fine. Okay. This is actually going to be a pretty good spot to stop. We're going to learn about substring some more again tomorrow. An overloaded version of substring. We'll even learn what the word overloaded means. I'll see you then.